Okay, we are now recording again.
All right, we're back in order. We ended at 14,151. 14,152 is our cats running at large. I brought this over from our other ordinance.
Okay, so it's not new.
But I found out, I heard that it was repealed, but she said she can't see it was repealed. No. Okay, so it is still, right now in Blackstone, unlawful for a cat to run at large without a collar. Okay, so this is just brought over, it's not new. The only thing I'd like to add to it is to see if we can find a microchipping grant or program, like they do in Prince Edward. For people who don't want their cat to have a collar, we can just wand them. And
What about a dog?
I could ready to say that
My
sounds
dog's
good too.
well, if they want to microchip their dog, they can do that too.
You know what I mean?
We can do that for both of them. They still gotta have a license.
Yeah.
Okay.
You mean, you said a microchipping?
Microchipping grant, yeah,
And you would
or program.
say microchipping would be the alternate to putting a collar on a dog.
Yeah, we get a little wand, and when he's out there, you just wand him. Oh, that's I'll use Alan Queen again. That's his dog. We'll take him back to Alan Queen, or that's his cat. We can put his cat back down because his cat can run at large in town.
So what about,
But if it don't have a microchip, we consider it feral.
so the grant would what, help pay for?
Right.
cats to get-
I talked to Prince Edward. They're doing microchipping of animals for $25. Some of that money comes from Prince Edward County, though. On the other hand, they told me that there are funds available through the grant, and their animal control officers do the microchipping, and that's been cleared by their county veterinarian.
How in the world did they get their hands on a cat to do that?
Right. Well, if you
Like me, I don't know.
well, that's the current law.
Cats are quicker to catch.
They are.
You gotta trap them.
Oh, yeah.
You get them
Well, we could always think of for feral trap and release, but if you're trapping a cat and it ends up being somebody's cat and you go and spay and neuter it, you know, that's why it's best for licensing or microchipping. But we know it's not feral, you know.
It would
And-
help out with animals that may have been collared but lost them as well.
Because believe it or not, we have a very bad feral cat problem. Very bad. I was sitting out here the other day, and cat done run right in front of the police department, walking down the street. No tag or collar. But anyway,
Hanging around the dumpster.
yeah,
Anywhere there's food, restaurants, and stuff like
yeah. So 14,151. I mean, sorry, 14,152, 153, 154 are all current ordinances. And they were enacted 11/20/95, and so is 14/155. So that takes us to page 29. I would like to see if we can add microchipping, or if there is some kind of funding out there that we can do that. Just an idea, you know. All right, care and control penalties, 14/156. This is an extension of the animal cruelty. It is new. Says no owner shall fail to exercise proper care and control of a domestic companion, wild or exotic animal to prevent it from becoming a public nuisance. Every female dog and cat in heat shall be confined in a building or secure enclosure in such a manner that such female dog or cat cannot come into contact with a male dog or cat except for breeding planned by the owner. Any person owning or having with such person's possession or control any domestic companion, wild or exotic animal. This goes to the snakes thing y'all passed with the exotic animals. And it has penalties down there for violations, which again are, they're pretty severe actually. Class 1 misdemeanor. If there's it's a class 3 misdemeanor, but if you violate it more than within a 24-month period again, then it becomes a class 1. So if you got a boa constrictor, and then we hit you with it, and then a year later you got a boa constrictor, or 11 months later, then you get hit a little harder.
Yeah, buddy.
And this is not new. This is carried over.
No, this is new.
Okay.
But we do have a current wild animal law like that right now, don't we, Philip? Wild exotic animal law in our current ordinance.
Alright. Exotic animals. I don't think it goes goes into as much detail, but it doesn't talk about, potbelly pigs and that sort of thing. I don't know if it says exotics, but it talks about that sort of
It
thing.
says keep any animal including snakes, reptiles, hogs, pigs,
Pigs,
potbelly
potbelly
pigs,
pigs, yeah.
livestock, cattle, sheep, and goats within the camp.
Sounds like Catfish Mike on the trading post.
I do like the trading boat.
It says other than domesticated dogs, cats, and fowl, it's unlawful to have the list snakes, reptiles, all that. However, the keeping of horses are permitted in the suburban agricultural zone.
But we don't have a suburban agriculture.
We do.
Oh, yeah, near
It's
the
not called
lakes.
suburban
But
agriculture.
we may need to change that, but
Yeah,
the suburban agricultural zone has two purposes. Suburban agricultural zone was created in 1994, 95, after the annexation was done.
Yeah.
And it has more restrictive sized lots and all that sort of thing. But some of the people who lived in there did have horses. And Johnny Cole's wife, if I remember correctly, she got horses down there.
on Pleasant Drive.
Yeah, yeah.
Where's she at? She's somewhere here.
Yeah.
But she had, I think they may even own some of it, but nonetheless, she was concerned because she wasn't gonna be able to have horses and she wasn't entitled to have horses. The suburban agricultural zone,
What area is that?
down on the very south end.
Blue.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know.
And,
That's all I know.
the suburban agricultural zone is probably
R1S.
R1S, but because it was originally called suburban agricultural zone, but the reason the agricultural was taken out of it, because state law changed in the 90s that said if it's an agricultural zone, you are obligated to allow double wide manufactured homes in the agricultural districts, agricultural zone,
Is that over near the lake?
and that's why the term R1S
Which
came
lake?
up, R1 suburban, because they wanted to eliminate the permissible location of manufactured houses.
Isn't that over near the lake at the end of,
Yeah,
College.
College Avenue,
College Tech?
10th Street, down below the cemetery. That was annexed into town in 1992,
Mm-hmm.
and this zoning map is a result of that. The town really kind of stopped at 10th Street.
So that's part of the town
It
now?
did.
It's part of town now, but in 1992 it was not.
It was not, yeah, it
So
wasn't.
part of the understanding was they wanted much larger lot requirements, because we allow, at Beauty Day, on a 10,000 square foot lot, anything in green, it was a 10,000 square foot lot, it wasn't a quarter acre. And they were like, oh, we don't want that, we wanna keep the character of the, because most of them are 1 acre lots, or, now,
nice.
if I'm not mistaken, it's a 21,000 square foot, which is a half acre.
So what this ordinance is saying, it's not saying you can't have a hog, this particular section. We already have the fowl and animal, which we included in here, of what it is. This is saying if you have the animal, whether it's a dog, cat, a snake, a reptile, a hog, whatever it is, if it becomes a public nuisance, meaning it gets out, destroys somebody's property,
So
breaking
you are gonna
another.
permit pigs in town?
No, we have that under the fowl already.
Gotcha.
But if you happen to have one and it gets out,
There's a nuisance.
and it causes a nuisance, that's where this article comes into account. And it does cover the female dog issue, because if you have a female dog in the backyard and there's dogs running at large, it creates a chance of attack. It does. They do. Attack on other animals and on humans. So, it's just saying if they're in heat, they need to be confined.
Now, we may need to take a look at it,
Mhm.
with the snakes and the reptiles. Because at some point, someone's gonna have a snake in town, and
Yeah.
they have them.
And I'm sure they already do have them.
They already do, but, we may have to have some kind of,
Well, this just covers it if they have one, and
no,
it,
I mean,
yeah.
revising this.
Oh,
We're
okay,
talking
okay,
about
okay.
this.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have to make some provisions to check the code around, if you can just have, say, no snakes in town.
Yeah. This allows, also the court, to order sterilization if it's a public nuisance of any of those animals like that, yeah. Alright, so that is new. 14157, disposition of deceased companion animal. The owner of a dead companion animal shall cremate, bury, or otherwise sanitarily dispose of the companion animal. And they can do that by calling the town animal control officer and have the companion animal picked up and properly disposed of. And there'll be a $40 fee for us to do that. So that is new. Alright. Article 3, authority for seizure, impoundment, reclamation, and disposition of animals. This is what gives our,
So this is Article 3, that looks like one, two,
4, I apologize.
Yes, for,
I apologize. You said I shouldn't be on the finance committee, you're right.
It should be a I and a V, I
The
believe.
IV, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm really tired.
Do we wanna do that?
Yeah, you can make it IV, that's fine.
If you going wrong with it now, you know. It's all good.
So that goes to page 31, we're almost done. Authority to impound the animals. This is what gives our animal control officer the authority to impound them.
There you go.
For what codes under this section that he can impound them, and the procedures upon apprehension. If you look at subsection B, any animal seized pursuant to this section may be impounded at the town designated facility. Animals requiring specialized veterinary or other care may be impounded at other town designated facilities. Any expense incurred in the seizure of impoundment, including but not limited to boarding, veterinary care, licensing fees, shall be the responsibility of the owner or custodian of the animal and become a lien on the animal impounded and must be discharged before the animal is released from the facility. The town shall not be required to hold the seized animal for a period longer than 30 days from the date of the seizures unless a bond is provided for in section 14174 has been posted. This is where we hit a dangerous dog and they asked for a continuance, and we've got it in the shelter, and now he's gonna be there past 30 days. Well, if you want us to continue to care for it, you gotta put a bond up so we can.
Well, you're looking at 35 plus $5 a day, it's $185 for 30 days, right off it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the bond's gonna cover you gotta put a bond up every 30 days if it's gonna be in there long term like that, and if your dog was the reason for it. And of course, this is only if they violated these sections, and we've had to pick your dog up.
Right.
So we're
Yes,
getting,
that's
we're
what
getting
I
paid for it through the bond. It makes sense. So that is new. If you take a look at it, 14174 is the posting of the bond, and that's what we were discussing there. Like I said, it clearly explains it out, and you guys are welcome to read it and get back to me. That if it's a long care stay, we're getting a bond for it. Every 30 days, you gotta post a new bond until the case is discharged, as long as we're required to hold the animal by the court. So, and this would generally become in dangerous court cases, dangerous dog or vicious dog
Dog
cases.
cases.
It's not gonna really come at large, the bonding procedures, okay? Any questions or
And
comments
this
on
is
that?
new too?
That's new, definitely.
Bond, I mean, that's like
So it could be surety or cash,
a
that's
cost
right,
of.
that's right. And the bond is
animal being
determined,
kept.
the bond amount is determined by the animal control officer as well. They can pay that bond right here at the treasurer.
I'm just trying
Well, it has
to
to
relate
do-
that to a term I understand. I mean, it's like
Just like,
boarding
No.
cost.
yeah, it's what it's gonna cover, boarding, medical, food, all that kind of cost, that's right. We gotta pay for it up front.
And we keep it because,
Because, well, let's
The
say your
court
dog gets
procedures
out and
tell-
bites somebody, and the animal control officer says your dog's a dangerous dog, it just bit a child. They take it to the shelter, okay? We only got 10 cages at the shelter, so now we're holding your dog there until it goes to court. But let's say you get an attorney, and you go to court, your attorney asks for continuance, okay? Now, it's been 28 days since the bite happened, and now that you ask for continuance, we gotta keep the dog in the
Okay.
shelter.
that's
And we have to keep paying for it, so it puts it on you to help cover the costs, okay?
yes, sir.
And then there's bond discharging, procedures in there as well.
It's a court term, man. I ain't used to this.
Yeah. All right, next page is 14175.
Good people don't understand that stuff.
Right. It's to limit the cost of the town when we have to
Oh, yeah.
keep dogs long-term,
Yes,
and make the
good
owners pay, yeah, so.
I'll take care of that.
14175 is a notice of hearing for impoundment. This comes under due process, for owners. If your dog's running at large, it doesn't have to have its collar on, or it does have its collar on, and the animal control officer says, this is the third time I'm impounding the dog. They've gotta follow these procedures, which includes putting a notice on your door. The animal control officer will hold a hearing within 48 hours to make a decision whether to release the dog from impoundment back to you or to wait until we go to court, kind of thing. And so this lays out those procedures, and as long as the animal control officer feels that he can give you the dog back without it being a danger to the community, that you'll care for it and cure anything, he should be able to release it back to you.
Is that new?
Yes, it's new, it's all administrative, and it's due process,
And they have guidelines to help them,
That's right. That's
go
fine.
through determining whether it
This
should
is-
be released or not.
This is the guidelines, yeah, it's
Okay.
written in there, that's what,
Okay.
it's all administrative, yeah. And I won't bore you with that, it just let you know it's there, it gives our animal control officer, tells him what his discretion is or isn't to do, so. This, 14-176, page 135, see, that's still all the guidance, yeah, there. That's new, disposition of vicious and feral animals found at large. A vicious or feral animal found at large in the town because of its disposition or deceased condition is too hazardous to apprehend may be destroyed when so ordered by the animal control officer. That gives them the authority to do so. That's 14-176. A vicious or feral animal found at large. Yeah. So if your dog's been claimed vicious or found at animal or feral animal, okay, found at large within the town. What do you think about that one, Philip? 14-176. What do you think about that? Are you still reading administrative procedures?
I'm reading 197.
Oh, okay. You're ahead of us.
The disposition of vicious and
Yeah.
if you can't get a hold of them, yeah, but I just think we need to have a clarification of feral. Is a feral dog just a dog running a lot? And you can't catch him, or you like to shoot at? Yeah. I think
And I think it says
dog running
vicious,
at large and feral, you need to define the difference.
but maybe you write and vicious feral. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want anybody shooting anybody.
If you, this is if you can't catch them.
This is you can't get, yeah.
I just think that the one thing you gotta do is either use the same term of dog running at large, or you need to define what feral means. And if feral is, I can't catch him, dog running at large and I just can't catch him,
Well, we have definitions in the front, right?
is the definition of feral in there?
Let me take a look. A, B, C, D. No. No.
Feral's usually a
It's
reference
just
to
used
cats.
as I see so far, it's only been used at one time. So you just gotta determine, if a dog is running at large and I can't catch him, is he then declared feral and I can shoot him? Can we whip out the shotgun and cut him down?
It says vicious and feral in the title. Well, yeah, vicious or feral animals.
Yeah, just gotta, I think we got a good definition of vicious,
Yeah.
but does feral, is that something different than a dog running at large?
Well, my
Without
question
dog?
is, do we even want to keep this section?
Do I even wanna keep it?
Yeah.
It's already addressed in the vicious
Let's
part,
take-
but I do think it differentiated, because in the vicious section, it says the judge will adjudicate the dog vicious and then it can be ordered to be destroyed.
Right.
This is a dog you can't catch.
Right.
This is something different. This is a dog.
Or
I
it
can't
could
get my
it
hand
could
on.
also be a dog that throughout the animal control's day he comes across of and the dog is being vicious to him, you know, or to another person. I mean, it could be,
Well,
you know,
yeah,
I don't know.
I
and
don't
runs
know
off.
if you can use those same definitions.
No.
Because you have a pretty clear definition of a vicious dog. Kill somebody, injure somebody, but if you've got a dog just growling at you
Mm.
and you can't catch it,
What I'm
can
saying
you
is,
just make a field determination that he's vicious?
yeah. But if a dog's biting a kid,
Well, they're gonna kill it anyhow.
yeah. So is this even needed? Can we just take it out, or what do
I
you
think
think?
you need to keep it in.
Need to keep it in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because according to
They have the
definition,
authority to
feral,
dispose
Just need
of
to
the
clarify.
dog.
Can we
Yeah,
see?
it's
Can
different.
we, Madam Clerk, if you can, I don't want to.
But I think more than the vicious,
Mm-hmm.
because vicious means it's been declared vicious,
right.
Right.
right?
But a
Right.
feral
Anything
dog or
you
cat
claim
hasn't
a
been.
feral, what's the difference between a dog running alarm with no collar that I can't catch and a feral dog?
Well, the other thing is this ordinance allows us to catch cats, and if we can't find the owner and put them down, we consider them feral anyway. So, you know, I don't want to go around shooting feral
Yeah,
cats.
but don't you have to keep them a certain time?
5 days.
Yeah, you gotta keep the cat 5 days just like the dog does.
Well, you know, Brunswick County is in some heat over this kind of stuff. Have you heard about that state police investigation down there? Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little cautious on this one. I don't wanna be shooting
I think
anybody.
before you shoot them, you gotta try to catch them.
I don't want to shoot. Yeah, I don't want to shoot anybody on there.
You could have a dog growling at you because he doesn't want to be caught.
Yeah,
Shooting because he's,
Oh, I
Yeah.
declared him vicious suddenly. What?
Yeah.
You can do a field determination of vicious.
Yeah. Brunswick County's in a lot of trouble right now.
What are they doing? Shooting dogs?
Going out and shooting dogs. A lot of them.
Animal control officers?
That's
shooting?
armed animal control officers.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
just the armed, it's just not the animal control,
Yeah.
sheriffs are doing it too.
Yeah.
Private citizens are shooting.
I don't know about the sheriffs
and
are
animal
doing it
control,
and the
yeah.
animal control, because the sheriffs are also our SROs, and they come into the schools and they talk about it with the teachers.
Can we make a note on this, Madam Clerk, to research, not only a definition of feral, but,
I looked up the
Vicious part out
definition.
And keep the feral, if you have a definition of feral. Because vicious is gotta be declared by your ordinance, gotta be declared by the judge, or the court.
yeah, let's take out,
So we'll look up a definition for feral.
let's take a, see if we can find a state law definition for feral, which I don't think I have been able to, but let's see if we can, or a legal definition that may be under legal dictionaries. Number one, and number two, let's, put a notation on that to review, legalities and liabilities. Does that sound good?
Sure.
All right.
Because it is different, even with the regular definition. It's different than vicious. It's quite different.
All right, let's move on. We're almost done. We're at 35. We got 7 pages. So, rabies control, 14196. Now, this is new, but it is state law. The only problem is if a rabies thing happens here and we never write a citation over, it's going to be under state. We're not going to be able to recover our costs, and it could be expensive, you know.
Okay.
And
Ferrets are subject to rabies vaccination.
huh?
Ferrets are required to have, because I guess ferrets can carry.
Ferrets?
Yeah.
Is that an exotic? No.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
They cut it to the
Ferrets, cats, dogs. Yeah. So it's saying here that it'd be unlawful for any person to keep in town, to own or keep a cat or dog over the age, or ferret over the age of 4 months, unless they have been vaccinated, you know, for rabies according to the USDA, recommendation.
The fact that, or the ferret gotta wear a collar.
No.
Yeah, that's right there, ferret collar.
Where does it say that?
The collar tag shall be securely affixed to a cat, dog, or ferret's collar.
Oh, that's the rabies tag.
Right.
Yeah,
It
which
shall
they,
be worn at all times.
yeah, so when the ferret gets it, they give all animals, when they go give them rabies, they give them a little tag.
You gotta wear that.
Just the rabies, it's not a license tag
We
though.
gonna have ferrets running that lodge all over the street.
But you know, we had that dog, that, right, we don't, I don't know.
Let's see if we get this thing wrapped up. man.
Yeah,
Moving
So we had-
on. I'm asking
that-
stupid questions about ferrets.
that dog that killed that cat at Clay's didn't have a rabies vaccine. Yeah,
Yeah, you ain't gonna with that one no more.
yeah.
Say the vast majority of them.
Well, you know, and our tag license is gonna fix that, cause if you go back and read it, they've got to show,
You can't get a tag without
you
rabies.
can't get a tag without the rabies, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But this allows us to
Damn.
cover costs in case of an outbreak from your animal, due to negligence and all that kind of stuff throughout this rabies, section. So, 14197 is,
New or old?
again, the certificate and collar tag and all that good stuff that they'll have to have.
New or old?
This new. Again, administrative stuff. Authority to investigate, 14198, is gonna be page 38. It'd be the duty of the animal control officer or his designee to investigate any report of an animal having caused, an exposure to any person or another animal or to its saliva or membranes in the town. So this is part of rabies control. Animal control officers do it every day. It's administrative, tells him that's his duty to do. Section 14-199, report,
New or old?
what's new? Report of animal or human exposure shall be the duty of any animal control officer or deputy animal control officer or any police officer, any veterinarian, emergency service attendant or private physician, hospital or urgent care facility, or any other person having knowledge of an animal exposure to a human to report it within 1 working day after its occurrence to the Director of Public Health for the county or his designee. Meaning if we have an issue like that at Clay's where a dog has bitten a person or another animal, and they've got they haven't had the rabies shots, and they are assumed to have rabies, that we have to report it to the health department. Shall be the duty of any person who has knowledge of the existence of a suspected rabid animal or an animal exposed to a suspected rabid animal to immediately report the existence and whereabouts of the animal to any animal control officer, who will then notify the Director of the Public Health for the county or his designee.
New or old?
That's new. 14200 is new. notice of exposure and access to animal, concealing or harboring such animal to prevent investigation or destruction. Again, this is all about rabies. It's administrative. It's allowing the animal control officer who to notify and when and what conditions they can put on. And what happens if somebody tries to hide their animal who got rabies because they love their dog? It's like their child, and that can cause a rabies outbreak. And like I said, it allows our animal control officer to know what to do. Okay. 14201, quarantine of those animals. This gives the authority of the public health official for the county or our animal control officer to quarantine animals that are suspected of rabies. Again, this is another mere state law, and it's all administrative. Okay.
New.
Section 14-202 is the confinement or destruction of an animal bitten by a rabid animal. This gives us the authority to destruct the animal within a certain time period, and it's all administrative.
All new.
All new.
And just so I'm
Yes, sir.
sure, animals, including wild animals?
It says any animal suspected of being infected with the rabies virus shall be destroyed immediately in accordance with the guidelines approved by the state veterinarian.
But quarantine.
Oh, the quarantine, is that where we're at?
Quarantine of animals suspected of rabies.
So, A says any animal suspected of having rabies or showing signs of rabies or having been.
Inside the person's home. We're not talking about taking
Right.
them in the shelter, okay?
Right.
So if you got a pet possum or
Right.
whatever.
And they should bear the expense of if we have to quarantine it somewhere else.
You gotta quarantine them at home.
yeah.
We can't take them in the shelter because it's not built for
Right.
domesticated animals.
And it's a period of 1 day to 6 months unless sooner released by the Director of Public Health. Right, yeah. But yeah, so, and then it also says that they have to be available for inspection. Our health official is gonna wanna check on the animal and see if it's improving or if it, it's getting out of control. So, 14-203, we just covered already. So 204, animal dying during quarantine. If any animal shall die while it's quarantined pursuant to provisions of this article, which is the rabies article, and such animal is known to have exposed another animal or person at any time during a period of 2 weeks immediately preceding such death, it shall be the duty of the owner or custodian of such animal to immediately contact the Director of Public Health or his designee to obtain instructions for the testing and or disposal of the body. And that is new. Again, it mirrors state law. Section 14-205, our rabies clinics, the town animal control officer or his designees hereby authorized to periodically, but not less than once a year, review the need for reduced cost neighborhood rabies clinics to encourage citizens to comply with town code sections requiring the vaccination of dogs, cats, and ferrets against rabies. All right. Section 14-206 is the declaration of rabies emergency. This lays out administratively those procedures and the power to do so by those officials. It also gives the town council the ability to pass emergency ordinance, which shall become effective upon passage, which shall require owners and custodians of dogs and cats to keep the same confined upon the animals confined upon their premises unless under leash and under the control of the owner or custodian. So it does give council the authority to take action as well.
Keep them out of
Nice
that
job.
area of the rabid animal.
Overall, I know it's boring and it's tough and all that. And I think there's some things that we can work on.
And this is the other item.
This is a second proposal. I mean, if you wanna get into
No,
it,
I'm just saying, we'll look at it next meeting.
we can look at it on the 8th.
8th of February,
Yeah.
come back. Now, my question to you is, I've given copies of this to the police chief and I've given copies of this to Tessie. Are we ready for a legal review?
Yeah. Are y'all ready for a legal review?
Well, I don't know,
Well,
I mean, are we,
What's the committee's pleasure?
well, I
I
thought we
don't
were
wanna
gonna.
spend a bunch of money if we're gonna strike out whole sections of this.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought we were gonna review our notes, look at it
I want you
ourselves.
guys to give me
We come back
something
together on the
what you're
8th.
ready to do.
After the meeting on the 8th, I think we.
Yeah.
But the chief
consider-
doesn't cost anything extra, so I'll have the chief make his comments on it.
Yeah,
Right, and we've given her some proposed changes as well, so will you rewrite, do I need to do it, or are you gonna? You're the best, I don't care what he said about it. And you'll send us a new copy then, okay.
So I'll get Chief started on it, and then we'll incorporate his stuff on the 8th, and then you guys will tell me exactly which direction we're going, and I'll get Tessie John.
It's no easy task, I can tell you that. Is there any other comments or concerns? Does council want to scrap this proposal? Or let's ask them now.
I'm gonna look
We
at the
didn't
other
ask
one
them
too. I mean, yeah, you don't wanna scrap anything until we consider the options
yet. Right,
and
okay.
talk about it.
Well, we got through the big one, we moved through
Yeah.
the rest. We do the 8th at 6 o'clock? Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. What day is that on?
That's a Wednesday,
Okay,
it's a Wednesday.
I'll put it at my
Week
second
before
job.
Valentine's Day. Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, alright. Sounds good, thank you.
Would you like to adjourn the meeting?
Yes, motion to adjourn, anybody?
We don't need it.
No motion to, alright,
It's 8:03, you good with that?
that was a tough one, man. That's a
Yeah.
tough first meeting.